What do you want to do tonight?
The same thing we do every night, Pinky. Try to take over the world.
You might think that getting into the IT field is impossible without a computer science degree, but Tech Coach Ralph is here to prove you wrong. Get ready for some jaw-dropping revelations on how to break into this lucrative industry. Listen up, tech enthusiasts! Are you ready to break through into the IT field, but feel like you need a computer science degree to make it happen? Think again! Tech Coach Ralph has some exclusive, mind-blowing secrets to share with you. Get ready to be blown away by his jaw-dropping revelations on how to break into the tech industry without a computer science degree. So get your notepad ready, because Tech Coach Ralph is going to change your life forever. Buckle up, because you're about to embark on a journey to success in the IT field.
It's time!
Welcome back to another Tuesday night. Today is Tuesday, November 21st, 2023. We are 2 days away from Thanksgiving. Whew, that means we are almost to the end of the year. We are 1 month away from being at the end of the year. How you like that? How is your year? How's 2023 been for you? For me, it's been fun. It's been a roller coaster, right? So many changes, getting into new things, meeting with new people, it's been great. I really enjoyed 2023, but there is still about 6 more weeks to go, so we are going to make the most of it. All right. So, if you do not know, this is the Q&A show, the tech Q&A, where if you have questions, I will try to have answers. You never have all the answers, but I will do my best to give you the answers that you need. And if I'm not able to get it today, I will go and find out and I will get it to you next time. All right. So, Tech Q&A. I am your host, Tech Coach Ralph, and we are always engineered to win because there is no other option. All right. So before we do anything else, right? Sean is here bright and early. Shout out to you, Sean. Happy to have you here. I hope you're ready for an amazing night of Q&A. I've got all types of questions and, maybe we'll get some interaction with the chat. Maybe, just maybe, we'll get somebody to call in. I don't know, but I will post the link into the chat. And you know what? I should make it pop up every so often. Let me do that. Because with all the messages that start to pop up in the chat, you can definitely miss it. So let me see something. Okay, there it goes. All right, so I need this one. There we go. That's what I'm talking about. All right, let me get the link for the call-in. I know it's in the description, but we need it in the chat as well because you might want to call it and have a conversation with yours truly, Tech Coach Ralph, right? So I'm going to go and let's go to our chat bot. make sure that it's turned on for you. I got a monitor over here. I got a monitor over here. I got the laptop right here. Things are happening, folks. Things are happening. But who brings you better tech news, right? It's fun. It's entertaining. It's informative. Let's see. Do we have? No, we don't have one for it. Let's do it right now. And we shall. And we just drop it right there. And we say. Let's leave that out for now. All right, cool. So we shall say. And every 5 minutes to post, to drop the link. Boom. So we should be getting that in the chat very, very soon. Where you go? Right here. Boom. There we go. So I am going to drop it in the chat, but it should be popping up as well very, very soon. And you can click on the link and we can have a conversation. All right. So let's go to me cam down on here. All right, cool. And we mute that as well. Cool. There we go. And I'm just going to drop that right here as well. If you want to comment the show, go ahead and click the link. But before we do anything else, we are going to get into our agenda. And that goes, bring that over here. All right, cool. So welcome to the show. Like I said, it's Tuesday night, and you know what we do here on Tuesday nights. We answer questions that I found, questions that you have, whatever the case may be, right? So let's get started. First and foremost, as always, thank you to all the latest subscribers. I truly appreciate you.
I appreciate you.
We are growing so fast, and I'm just so happy that I'm able to add value into your lives. Happy to be able to give you certain insight in certain game, how to practice, how to do all sorts of things, how to update your resumes, how to network on LinkedIn, so many things. I'm just happy to be able to share it with you and that you find it valuable and that you subscribe to the channel so you can know when I drop when I go live, when I drop new information, all of that, right? So I just appreciate you. All right. So with that being said, if you haven't done so yet and you like the information that I'm sharing, what are you waiting for? Why don't you go and subscribe to the channel, and then you can hit the notification bell so you can know when I go live and when I drop new content. And of course, while you're here, like the video, share the video, right? And I'll show you this, right? Because what I noticed is when I go into a live stream, right, it will automatically open up the live chat, right? It shows up, I don't know if you can see it, but it shows up like this, right? So I want you to close the live chat, go ahead and like the video, subscribe to the channel, right? And then you will go back to the live chat, and then we can talk, right? We can talk. But if you're not subscribed to the channel, then we won't be able to have a conversation, right? So go ahead, let's communicate. Subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell, and let's talk, right? Tech Q&A. If you have questions, I have answers, and let's do it, right? Let's do it.
Let's get it.
All right. Next thing up, check out the Patreon, right? You can sign up for free. I'm going to be working over the next few days to, take clip up some of the videos that I put in there and put small segments of it. And I also make put small segments of that for those who haven't signed up for a tier. Because, if you take the time to sign up, I want to give you something as well. And as well, you get the videos that I have in there. I'm going to make all of them have the first 2 minutes available for those who sign up but they don't choose a tier. That way, because it takes you time to go out there and sign up for the Patreon, even if you don't sign up for a tier. So I want to give you some value. I want to give some value to you as well. And at some point, maybe you will sign up for a tier, maybe not. Doesn't really matter. I'm just happy that you're here and that you are supporting me and showing that you appreciate the work that I do. All right. And now what in the world? Wait. What? Wow. You know what? Give me 1 second.
We the best. Another one. I mean, you know, all we do is win, man. You know that.
And to top it off,
One more thing. Price of the brick going up.
Sean just said, Coach, just want to say I recently got part-time job as a QA analyst. That is amazing and great news, Sean. I am so proud of you. I know you've been working so hard, and there you have it. You know, that is just the first step. That is just the first step. You got a part-time QA analyst, and there's only up from there, right? This is what we've been working towards. This is what we've been waiting for, and now you've got it. I am sincerely proud of you and all of your hard work. And let's just keep going, right? So you got the QA analyst. Now we're going to keep looking to see what other opportunities, how we can leverage that, what we can learn, how you can just keep going up. All right. Great job, Sean. Great job. See, look at that. Sean is throwing off my whole show because trying to get through the agenda, he keeps dropping amazing news on me. Like, my goodness. My goodness. Amazing job, Sean. Amazing job. All right. Let me try to focus on this because it's I'm ready to end the show after all this good news, but I can't do that because there are many other people who want to be where Sean is right now. So I am here to help you. All right. So let's get into our live show schedule. Sunday afternoons, we have software explorations. We are currently working through Terraform, doing some cool and amazing things through there. Tuesday nights, we have, like tonight, our Q&A sessions where Sean just shows up and drops bombs of great news on us. So one more time. And then Thursday nights, we have more software explorations where we've been doing different things on Thursdays. Last week, Thursday, we had an amazing night where I was like working through through Hacker 101, and we ended up doing some Catch the Flag, and then Socks joined me up there. And then towards the end of the show, Don joined and they started having a conversation. And I'm like, okay, too much for a Thursday night. I need to set up something where we have the brilliant minds. I call them Tech Team 6. And we will get together and strategize and have it's like a barbershop talk for nerds, And we're gonna do something. I'm still working on it, but trust me, you will not want to miss it when it happens. Right? But Thursday nights we do some more software explorations. On Thanksgiving, I'm not sure exactly what we're gonna do, but I'm gonna figure something out, and it might it's gonna be a different time, right, than the normal 7:15 time. But it might be during the day, might be I'll figure something out. But it'll be fun. It'll be worthwhile. And we're going to enjoy the day, enjoy Thanksgiving together. Right. So that is the plan. And then the newest show, Coffee and Kata in the mornings, our morning show, Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, 7:15 a.m. Eastern time, where we go over a few news articles and then we get into our coding challenge. Yesterday, I literally 5-10 minutes before the show, right? I said, why don't I start Don's rock, paper, scissors challenge from Chaos Camp? Why don't I start that through Terraform based on the work that we did on Sunday? And I was like, all right, let me do it. And then we started up on Terraform and we got to start writing our code. And it was like how my mind works when I'm like, hey, we're learning this technology. So we're working with Docker. We're also working with Terraform. So why not leverage the work that we're doing in Terraform to start up our coding challenges, and then tomorrow I'll just use the Docker locally to start up the challenge, and that way we get to use all of the tools that we're learning. We get to get better at Docker. We get to get better in Terraform. We get to get more familiar with AWS. We get to practice our testing, our automation, all of that stuff, right? So you could see how I strategized my testing. You could see how I wrote some automation tests. You could see how I started up Terraform. Tomorrow I'm going to do it with Docker. And then today I'm thinking, oh, you know what? I can add a health check page to the rock, paper, scissors challenge, right? And then I'm like, oh, you know what? I'm going to do it on a live stream, not this coming Thursday, but maybe next Thursday, where I'm going to add logging to the rock, paper, scissors challenge, right? And that way we can start integrating like some tools of the site reliability engineer, which I'm going to get into a little bit, right? And so many things that we can incorporate, that we can just gain our knowledge, and we can get better. You know, my goal for myself and for you is for growth, for daily growth, right? It doesn't have to be an extreme amount, but we just want to get a little bit better every single day, right? And that's my goal for you here. That's what I preach on the Tech Coach Ralph channel. All right. So let me know what you think about that, and let me know if you think that'd be a good idea. Taking Don's his very simple rock, paper, scissors challenge application and expanding it to add a health check page, add logs, and that way we can use Grafana, and then we can like integrate a tool so that we can track the logs. I mean, it's a very basic app, but you can log who wins. You can log what time things were played. You can log if the errors were happening, you know? So I think it's going to be a great opportunity for us to sample out the tools that we've been talking about, right? Because so many people are talking about, oh, Splunk and all of this, but talking about it, it's not going to get you anywhere. You got to be about it, all right? So one more time, let me run down the live show schedule real quick. We have Sunday afternoons, software explorations. We're going through Terraform. Tuesday nights are Q&A sessions, and don't forget, last week we had the cyber security Q&A. We're going to be doing that once a month, so look out for it next month. Thursday nights we have more software explorations, and then Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays we have the morning show called Coffee and Kite at 7:15 a.m. Eastern Time. Looking forward to seeing you there. You choose which show is best for you and be there, and we will have that conversation. All right. So that is our live show, and let's move into our pre-recorded content, which is Mondays Candid Conversations. And this past Monday's Candid This past Monday's Candid Conversation, I asked you a question. The question was, how hard are you working? How many hours are you putting in a day, right? And you know what? Sean just told me how hard he's working, because he just landed a position as a QA analyst, right? I know he's been putting in the work, and that's just the beginning. I know he's going to go very, very far. And, you know, as long as, you know, he's going to stay connected with me, and I'm going to give him game and insight and little things that he can do here and there that it'll make him stand out, and it'll help expedite his growth, right? And that's what I'm here for. That's what I'm here for. And I am so thankful to have Sean, who's been rocking with me for a good minute now. So truly appreciate it, right? So Mondays, Candid Conversations. Wednesdays, Software Explorations, Concept and Overviews. Last week, we spoke about the Identity and Access Management engineering role, right? And that was a good one. That salary can get up to like $163,000 a year and higher, right? That's like a median for a that's like a median for like a mid to senior level, right? Tomorrow we're going to be breaking down site reliability engineering, right? I already have it scheduled to premiere, so go ahead and like that video, hit the notify me button so you can know once the premiere starts at noon tomorrow, noon Eastern time. But it's going to be a really, really good one. Another very promising role. It was started at Google in 2003. I think that you will really, really enjoy it. That salary range is crazy as well, right? It could range from like $140,000 to $180,000 per year. Yep, I said per year. All right. So definitely want to check that out. And Fridays, we have the Bug Bite, where we review certain, software industry related bugs or social engineering, for cybersecurity. Like a lot of the bug bite stuff is related to cybersecurity. Some of them are hardware failures, but a lot of it is cybersecurity type stuff like vulnerabilities and breaches. So I would definitely recommend you check that out. And then throughout the week, we have our Q&A questions that I clip up, and then I make it available to you, because sitting through a 2.5 hour show hearing me ramble it can be hard, right? I mean, I love to hear myself speak, but maybe it's too much for you, right? You have things to do, you have to study, stuff like that. So I cut up the questions and I make it available for you in bite-sized pieces. And I see that some videos, they get a lot of traffic because they are very helpful, and some of them, they get decent because you might not have that question yet. But I leave it there because in the future, as you get there, you might have that question and it might become very, very useful to you. All right. So that is the pre-recorded. One more time: Mondays, Candid Conversations; Wednesdays, Software Explorations, Concept and Overviews; and Fridays, the Bug Bite. And then we have at 3 p.m. Eastern Time, Monday through Friday, one video from our Q&A session. All right. So that is our live show and our pre-recorded shows. All right. Now, I would highly urge you to check out Chaos Camp, the GitHub repo, right? To see the different types of challenges that my good friend Don has placed in there to help you level up your technical skills, right? We all work in so the goal of the team that I'm building, right? My goal is that we can provide you value in different ways, right? I will speak and share insight and, tips and stuff like that. Don is creating these amazing challenges, right? Socks is giving you some amazing cybersecurity game, and we're just trying to add value to help you, right? Because so many people, I want to get into QA, I want to get into software engineering, I want to get into cybersecurity, but I have absolutely no idea how, right? We're just trying to help you to get there, but remember, it's a lot of work, and if you think you're just going to get in there and then just be lazy, then you're sadly mistaken. All right. So I'm gonna let me. Is the link being posted in the chat? Let me double check. It is being posted in the chat. So you should be getting that in the chat. Should you or not? But I'm gonna post it right now. If it doesn't come in, and it's also in the description of the video as well. But I highly, highly recommend that you check out Chaos Camp. So you can they're tough challenges, but they're practical, right? And if I was applying for a job and I get an interview, I would definitely mention the challenges that I'm doing at Chaos Camp. I would find a way to work it into my I would find a way to work it into my my answers about the different things I do to challenge myself, to get better at testing, to get better at things like Docker, AWS, Terraform. I would mention those type of things, and I would definitely mention the challenges at Chaos Camp, right? I think that the challenges that Don builds, right, and that I'm helping him build too, because I'm trying to contribute to it too. But I think that those challenges are the standard for QA interviews, right? QA interviews should be based on that, on like how you can articulate, you would work through the problem. I would like to just watch somebody work their way through a Chaos Camp challenge for like 30 minutes to an hour and see how they work. And that'll tell me a lot. That'll tell me everything that I need to know, right? I don't even really have to ask any questions. Like just seeing how they work, that'll tell me everything that I need to know. All right. And then you can talk about then you can figure out like the interpersonal skills, the soft skills and stuff like that. But seeing how they approach it technically, their mindset, their critical thinking, that's what I need to see, right? So I would highly recommend that you go to Chaos Camp's GitHub and try a challenge today, right? Try a challenge, and tune in tomorrow morning as you see me keep working through the rock, paper, scissors challenge, and maybe you can get some ideas, maybe you can give me some insight, whatever the case may be, right? But definitely check out my friend Don at Chaos Camp. And lastly, lastly, our friend Socks, he broke down so he created a diagram, a roadmap on the different pathways or different routes of cybersecurity, right? So for instance, if you want to go into cybersecurity, but you want to go like a route that you don't have to code, right? So he has a section for like no code, right? And then you can just follow that path and see what you need, if you need any type of certifications, the route to follow, right? And then he has one like, if you want to code, then you can go down this route. If you want this, you go down this route, right? If you want to be in infrastructure, like whatever the case may be, right? And earlier today, he was breaking it down on a live that he did that I'm going to share with you guys in the chat right now. And then I'll also post it in the description of the video. Let me post that because that, like, I find that chart super, super helpful. Because many people ask, like, I want to get into cybersecurity because they heard somebody say it, that, oh, cybersecurity is so lucrative and this and that, but they don't know where to go, what to do. And that's one of the reasons that we did that Welcome to Cybersecurity panel. And then we did the Q&A that we're going to be doing monthly, where me and Socks are going to collaborate. I'm going to ask him questions and we're going to learn from his answers, So check out the video that he did today, the live that he did today, where he's breaking down his roadmap. All right. So now that is our announcements. And lastly, go ahead and, if you like what I've been sharing so far, then go ahead and subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell, like the video, share the video, share with everybody. It doesn't have to be someone who might like tech or someone that you might like. Share with everybody, right? Because that might be what they need to take it to the next level. All right. So go ahead and share it and we'll go from there. And of course, check out the Patreon, see all the information that I'm dropping in there to help you level up. And we might even touch on that a little bit later on during our Q&A session. All right. So that's it. That is all of our announcements. That is our agenda. And we are going to get started. But first and foremost, before we can do that, I have my friend in the chat. Welcome, Leanne. So good to have you here.
I appreciate you.
So we are off and running on the show. So what we're going to do tonight, right? Because it's been like 2 weeks since we did one of these official Q&A shows. Last week we did the cybersecurity Q&A night, right? So we're going to go put up our clock. And we're going to do 5 minutes per question. And boom. All right. And we are, let's see where we're at. Let me go here. All right. In case anybody calls up. All right. So let's get to our questions, why don't we? What are we waiting for? Let's bring them right about here. Okay. We are ready to go. But first,
Please offer me your energy. I ask of you, please.
it has been a long 2 weeks, but always well worth it. We're battling deployment issues and bugs and stuff like that, but we made it and I am here. So we're going to get started. All right. And we start off with our very first question of the night, but you know how we started.
Another one.
This one, you really want to listen up because it's going to be probably the most important part of your QA journey, right? Especially in today's day and age. So especially Sean, starting as a QA analyst, listen up, all right? Topic is testing in Agile. I work for a company that does 2-week sprints. At the end of 2 weeks, we push to prod. I wanted to know what type of testing should happen at what stages of those 2 weeks. Also, what should the testing, continuous integration, continuous deployment, CI/CD pipeline look like? All right. So that is the question. Very, very important, because if you are not familiar with Agile and Scrum, I would say stop whatever you're doing, right? And go learn about it. When I was at a company for like 9 years, right? When I was ready to go to a different company, and almost forgot. Don't want a good guy to be popping up and say, "Start the timer." But when I was getting ready to go to another company after a company I was at for 9 years, right? Was it 9? Might have been 7. I think it was 7, right? But it's not the point. When I was ready to go to another company, right? And I had never really knew what Agile and Scrum was, but I had a friend who was working at that company and he was the Scrum Master. And I was like, let me start learning about this, right? So I was using Udemy. I went and found a Udemy course called Testing in Agile. And I started going through that, figuring out how, like, first, what Agile is, about like the different people in it, like how it works in general, right? And then I went and further on in the course, they talked about like how does testing work in Agile, right? So that's number one. That is very, very important. Now, in Agile, we have something called sprints, or in Scrum, we have something called sprints, right? And in the sprints, it's meant to deliver regularly, right? Most sprints, you can have a sprint for like 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks. 99% of the time, sprints go for 2 weeks, right? Where you say, okay, these are the stories we're going to work on for these 2 weeks, and then after the 2 weeks, you should be like at least merging to master. You should be deploying, pushing to prod, as the question says, right? So definitely get familiar with that, right? Now, what type of testing should happen and at what stages of those 2 weeks? I'm going to break it down like this, right? Because the question is specific to testing, but as a QA engineer, QA analyst, whatever title that you have, like SDET, whatever the case may be, right? We all pretty much do very similar things. I'm going to just broaden it out a little bit more, and maybe I'll go into this deeper in the Patreon, right? But let's just take it as the involvement that the QA person on the team should have is you want to be involved at the very, very beginning, from planning, from refinement of the stories to planning to the work in the actual sprint to deployment, right? So by refinement, when we are talking about the stories, to talk about what is the acceptance criteria of the stories, you want to be contributing, you want to be asking questions, you want to be saying, okay, how, like, in what ways are we going to be able to test this? You want to ask all of those questions, right? So that you can be involved and you can be considered during, like, when I say you, I mean for testing and QA to be considered during the development, right? So that's not technically testing, but that's, like, I'm saying this has to be part of the QA process, right? Getting involved early, okay? And so you're asking these questions, and you're asking, okay, so how are we going to test this? Where, and now you're also contributing to the pointing of the story, which is saying, okay, this is the level of effort that it's going to take, which is including development and testing, right? So that's the first part, right? Of the stages of those 2 weeks, right? Before the 2 weeks even start, that's number one. And now you're planning so now the story's in the sprint, right? And you want as soon as the sprint, like as soon as the team starts working on the story, you want to start writing your test plan or your test case, whatever the case may be, where you're saying, okay, based on the acceptance criteria, based on the story, this is how we're going to approach testing, right? So if it's API, we're going to do, let's say the CRUD. So we're going to do the, like, if I send this post request, then we should get this response. If I send this GET request, you should get this response. So far, the developers might be starting on the development, or they might not even do that yet, right? But you write down all the scenarios, right? And then you have a discussion and conversation with your developers where you say, okay, this is my testing approach. Do you guys see any gaps in there? Is there anything that I'm not considering? And at the same time, they will also be able to see if there's any things that they're considering based on your testing approach, right? That's step 2. So now once the development is done, right, in the development environment that you guys are working on, it might be on a branch, it might be just a development environment. So now you test those changes there, make sure that those are all working and stuff. Now it depends on how your company works, right? Because you might go to from development to staging, and then from staging to production, or you might go from development to production, right? It just depends. But if you do go to staging, you do want to have regression tests, right? And I would say that it's going to be essential to have automated tests, right? So after you have your test plan created and the developers are building out the software, right? You want to start writing your automation tests as much as you can, so that once the development is done, then you can just start plugging in little details here and there, but you want to get as far with your automation tests as possible. And so that way you do your manual testing once the development is done, but you also update your automated test. You try your very best to get that test, your automated test, as part of the story. It's part of that deployment, right? Because here's what always happens. When you do not put your automated tests in that story, it goes into the backlog and it goes there to die, right? So you want to do your very best to get your automated tests as part of the work that's happening in the sprint, okay? So now development is done, you test, you verify things are working, you run your automated tests, you update those, that's working. And now let's say you go to stage, you run your test and you run those regression tests in stage, right? So you're making sure the new development is working and previous implementations did not break by the new development. And at what stage does that happen, right? It depends when you push the stage, right? Because let's say you push the prod at the end of the 2 weeks. Are you pushing the stage a day before the end of those 2 weeks? So, but you still want to run those same tests in whatever next environment there is. And then once you get to prod, sometimes you can't run certain tests in prod, but you run the test that's possible to run, and you go from there, right? So that is the idea. That is the concept, right? And what should the CI/CD pipeline look like? It depends, because if you're only pushing the prod at the end of 2 weeks, then you might have a merge to prod process, which is going to execute those particular regression tests that can be executed in prod. And you might have a merge to stage where you have all your regression tests run. It just depends. But because the way that I've done it is, we don't wait till the end of 2 weeks to push to prod. As soon as things are ready, we deploy those chunks of code, we merge them into master, and we're ready to go. But I've worked at companies where it's been at the end of the 2 weeks where we merge all of the different changes for that sprint together, and then we go to production, right? So it just depends, but it doesn't really change everything what I said. It's just the pipeline would change just a bit, but that is not too big of a deal to get around, I personally prefer the way that I do it now, because we deliver fast, we deliver often, and that is the spirit of Agile, all right? All right. So that was that question. And that was a good one. Trust me, that is a very, very good one. Leanne, listen up to that one. You might want to go and replay that. Same for you, Sean. Go ahead and replay that, because the testing and Agile part, check out that course I mentioned on Udemy. Super, super important that you guys get familiar with Agile now, because that's how 99% of the companies, that's how they're working, right? You go to an Amazon, you go to a Microsoft, you go to OpenAI. That's how things are nowadays, right? So just wanted to leave you with that little bit of information, and we shall get going to our second question. All right.
Another one.
Dev to QA successfully? How can I make my profile attractive enough to get a job in manual or automated testing? I know Java and JavaScript. I have made tests in JUnit, Cypress, and Jest, but I want to step aside coding for a while, so getting into manual or automated testing would be ideal. I don't have any certification though, so I just keep getting rejected by companies. What do you advise? So I'll tell you this for sure, right? You are not getting rejected because of your certifications, unless you're trying to apply to some company that is not a tech company and they don't really know anything about QA. But if you follow along on our software exploration shows, right, where we are looking for QA jobs, how many of those QA jobs have actually asked for a certification, which we all know the certification would be ISTQB, right? Because what other QA certification is there, right? So that being said, I don't think you're getting rejected because of your I don't think you're getting rejected because you're not having any certifications. You're probably being rejected because you don't know anything about QA, right? There's many different steps in the QA process and stuff like that, how to test. And so being a dev, I could see why you would be familiar with JUnit, Cypress, and Jest, but that doesn't really that just pretty much means that you know how to write unit tests, right? But that doesn't even mean like you know how to write good unit tests for the most part, right? So what I would say, to make your profile attractive is to learn QA, right? And just to let you know, if you are a dev and you're trying to transition into QA, especially into manual, right, you are most likely going to take a pay cut, right? Just being truthfully honest with you about that, right? So I would say, learn, like, you're gonna have to. I would say, of course, go for the automated route, right? Go for automated, but you still need to know everything about comprehensive QA, which the way I like to call it, right? Comprehensive QA. So you need to know about all the different types of testing: black box testing, white box testing, gray box testing, unit testing, which you should know as a developer. You need to know about exploratory testing, regression testing, retesting, all of those, right? You need to get familiar with that. You need to get familiar with writing test cases, right? You need to get familiar with writing defects, with executing. I would suggest that you would take a look at the QA portfolio, right? And then you need to get familiar with writing automated tests, right? I have like countless amount of videos where I'm writing automated tests using the page object model, doing data providers, whatever the case may be. But you got to get familiar with that, right? Get familiar with TestNG, being that you know Java. Get familiar with Selenium. Get familiar with Python. Get familiar with Playwright. Get familiar with Cypress. Well, you mentioned Cypress, right? But get familiar with it from more of an end-to-end testing point of view, right? So many things there's a lot of work to do, right? I just mentioned earlier the Chaos Camp challenges, right? Think through those on how you would test that, right? And I would say submit a PR. Write your test, submit a PR. Let us do live code review, right? I'm sure Don would come up and we could do a code review on PRs that are submitted to Chaos Camp, give feedback, what's missing, what's right, how we would have approached it, right? Oh, we something we didn't think about, right? So I would say definitely do that. Like you need to get the knowledge and the information of how to do all of those things, right? And then also how to automate those things that you're learning how to do, because manual is only going to take you so far, right? So can you transition from dev to QA successfully? Of course, definitely. you're in the right spot, but you need to have the quality mindset, right? You're not just going to, because I'm a dev, that means I can do testing. Absolutely not. Because devs see things from one point of view and QA sees things from another point of view. And that's the synergy that they have together. And that's why they're able to create amazing software. Because if everybody thought saw it from the same perspective, then we would have problems because things would not be working the way that, like, we wouldn't have, it wouldn't be that yin to the yang, right? So we make each other better. And I think that if you're going to come from a dev, then you're going to need to have a changed mindset on that, So that is my perspective. I think it's entirely possible. You just need to take the right courses. Like I mentioned earlier, testing in Agile, you need to take how to be a software tester, how to be a QA engineer, whatever you want to call it. And then you also have to take a course on how to properly automate as a QA engineer. You have the foundation in writing code, so you should be fine with that. But you need to learn how to properly do it from a QA perspective and not from a developer perspective. All right. So hopefully that helps. All right. So if you are enjoying the show so far, right, go ahead and like the video, share the video, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell so you can know every time that we go live when we drop these short Q&A clips from these shows that are designed to help you level up your technical skills. All right. Check it out. And of course, check out the Patreon. You can join for free. You don't have to be choose a tier to join. You can join for free. And we can go from there. I'm making the videos that I release over there, making like the first 90 seconds to 2 minutes available for you for free just because you signed up. All right. So I just wanted to share that with you. All right, let's get into our next question.
Another one.
I have imposter syndrome. I don't have enough knowledge about software testing except smoke tests and regression tests with just click on website and check. Other areas, huge stupidity at me. Selenium, Java, rest assured, API tests, performance tests. I have some Udemy courses, but I did not even open a ticket to developers at 1 year. Just trying to figure out things. How should I continue? I have little Java knowledge and know others a bit too. Oh God, now I need to learn Appium.
The fact is that I don't remember.
Well, I probably should have read that one before I chose it. But nonetheless, let's talk about imposter syndrome. So, 5 minutes up and we're off. So, I have two perspectives on this, right? I think that everyone, when they are new to something, that they sort of have some level of imposter syndrome. I mean, not everyone, 'cause, some people, they're very confident and they know what they're doing. They know what they're talking about. They're fast learners and stuff like that. But I think everyone to a certain extent has imposter syndrome. Like you might get hired to a new company and you're not too familiar with the technology that they use, and you're trying to so you make mistakes and stuff like that, and you feel bad about it. But I think a lot of times we might be a little bit too hard on ourselves in that aspect of imposter syndrome. But here is the other area, because I had a video not too long ago that said that we should be hard on ourselves, right? So although we might be a little too hard on ourselves, right? When it comes to imposter syndrome, that should propel us, and that should force us to work harder. And I'll break down this particular question in this way, right? So you say that you don't have enough knowledge about software testing except smoke and regression tests, right? Well, what the hell are you doing about it, right? Uh, so like they say, they have some Udemy courses, but they didn't even open a ticket to developers at 1 year. I don't know exactly what that means, but if you have Udemy courses and you feel that you have imposter syndrome, I think Udemy, Coursera, all those places, those are the best tools that you can use so that you can alleviate that imposter syndrome, so you can heal it, right? Go out and learn. So you can easily take a QA course on Udemy, right? To at least get some basic knowledge on the different things of QA, how to write test cases, how to write defects, how to approach different types of testing. Then there's like what I mentioned, the testing in Agile course, how to properly test in Agile, all of those things, right? So many opportunities that you can learn from, right? They have automation courses where you talk about Java, talk about rest assured. There's performance, like even in like the basic QA course, they talk about performance testing, and I'm sure you can find some courses on like how to automate your performance testing. So many options, right? But a lot of times, right, we like to just sit and be a Debbie Downer talking about, oh, I have imposter syndrome. I feel so bad. I feel so bad. I feel so bad. That's where I jump off the train, right? I'm like, you can complain for only so long, right? You got to get to work. You have to get to work.
Get a move on, back to work, chop chop, let's go. Come on, get a move on. Back to work, back to work, back to work.
There are countless resources. Like you can go on YouTube, like you can go on a free code camp, right? And learn about all different types of stuff. The problem that people have is they get so focused on one thing, and then they might stumble a bit, and then they quit, right? One of the ways that I continuously learn more and more about QA is I go outside of QA and I learn how to do things that I would be testing. So for instance, getting better with like testing APIs and the tools to test APIs, I build some simple APIs, right? So that I can do like post requests, get requests, patch up, like the patch and the delete and stuff like that, right? I actually try to implement the things that and learn the things that I have to test. So for instance, learning React, learning front-end development. Am I going to apply for a job as a front-end developer at some company? Probably not, because I'm not crazy about doing front-end development, right? But being dangerous enough to know about it, how to do it and stuff like that, that makes my testing better, right? Learning Terraform to figure out like how to automate, right? How to automate infrastructure, right? Am I going to go and become like a site reliability engineer or work in DevOps and stuff like that? That I don't know, right? Who knows what the future might hold? But I could also do that in a different way, like for my own projects and stuff like that. Like you see me using it for the Chaos Camp. You see me setting up Selenium grids with it, all that stuff, right? But the most important thing is stop complaining, stop being lazy, and get to work, right? So many, you have the Udemy courses, use them, right? And that's how you're going to grow out of your imposter syndrome. You're like, oh God, now I need to learn Appium. You should be like, oh, amazing. This is awesome. I have the opportunity and the ability to learn Appium. So now, not only can I test websites, not only can I test APIs, not only can I test performance, I can also test mobile devices, which makes me more marketable, and it crushes my imposter syndrome. So that is my take on it. You gotta let it go. You gotta use that to fuel you. Use that imposter syndrome to make you better. That's what I do. Whenever I felt like I had imposter syndrome, you know what I did? I went and looked it up. I'm like, okay, how do I do this? And I find YouTube resources. I find I get a course on Udemy, whatever the case may be, and I go and I start learning that, and then that imposter syndrome is gone because I also like the way that you see me. I've been like when I first started learning Terraform, it was on the live streams, and now I'm getting better and better at it. Not 100% there. You saw us messing around with the VPCs on Sunday, but I am 100 times further today, like six episodes or 7 episodes into our Terraform, right? 7 sessions into Terraform. I am 1,000 times better at it than I was on prior to the first session. All right. So you just got to put in the work, and you got to just go out there and get it. Right. You have to.
Let's get it.
You got to go out there and get it. There's no other option. All right. So that's my take on that. All right. And we have Sean that said facts. It's all about your mindset. And that's why I like Sean, right? He gets it. He gets it. And he puts in the work. You know, he's putting in the work. I can't wait to hear more about this QA analyst role that he's landed, and and just watch in like 6 months, a year, 3 years, you're gonna see like I'm gonna stick with Sean because I want to see the continuous growth, right? Continuous integration and continuous delivery is not only for software and technology and development, it's also for your life. You want to continuously integrate and continuously deploy, continuously deliver more and more in your own personal life. And that's how we will have continuous growth. All right. So that's that. Shout out to you, Sean. So proud of you. All right. Now let's get into our next question. But before we do that, if you're liking what we're talking about so far, go ahead and subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell, like the video, share the video, check out the Patreon, just trying to add more and more value into your life. All right. So go ahead and do that and level up your tech career, win with Tech Coach Ralph. All right. So with that being said, let's get to another one.
Another one.
I feel I am a bad fit and need advice. I was hired as a data scientist, more of an analyst/engineer in June of 2022. I had one data analyst internship in summer of 2021, but I felt like it was lackluster and did not really enjoy it. In grad school, I learned I enjoyed Python programming. I got a MS in statistics. I'm guessing that's a master's in science and stats. And I decided to apply for data scientist roles. I've been working in my job for a little over a year. It started well, and I did some SQL on the back end and built 2 large programs needed. That finished in February of 2022. After that, I did not have any big projects until I was assigned my first independent project in June of 2022. I had to build a Power BI analytic tool. I used SQL to build a table on the back end and brought my results to Power BI. There was no project deadline and the data was very messy. Unfortunately, it took me until October 2022. My manager was frustrated and needed the project in August. This was never communicated. He wrote me a warning letter on my performance. Now I am on FMLA to take care of my mental health, have been in therapy, and I am working part-time. Oh. Today, I shared my work for another project, but my manager is extremely disappointed and expressed it to me verbally. I started to realize there are things he assumed I should have known, including When doing left joins on the back end, you have to validate your count and ensure you know why your results increase or decrease. I mean, sounds like you should have known that as well. But, yeah, sounds like you should have known that. We are using Hadoop, and I am supposed to know the primary, foreign, and other keys between the tables I join. This info is not shared in Hadoop, nor is there a document to reference. When I ask my mentor, he does not always know, so I blindly join tables. Not good, I know now, and feel bad. Relation building involves one cross join between two tables. I did not know these things, and I feel shameful. Nowadays, I have to fight or flight my dreams from my childhood tied to my manager's behavior, and I think I need to quit my job. Should I apply to data analyst roles, or am I not cut for data? I like SQL and have some Power BI experience now. I do want to become a data engineer within the next few years. I like building and programming things rather than analyzing numbers. So, with that being said, let's start our clock, right? I'm gonna put it like this, right? People who run from challenges and who quit because they feel it's too hard and stuff like that, instead of learning to do better and to be more comprehensive in their approach and having a set guideline and stuff, they're not going to make it in almost any job, right? Or in anything that they do, right? Because they let their feelings and their emotions get the best of them, right? And here's what I'm gonna say about. I'm gonna touch on one part of it real quick, right? And this is probably Patreon level information, but Sean is in the chat, so I'm going to share it because this might help him, right? The part where, and not this part in particular, right? But I'm going to use it as an example, right? So when the person who wrote the question, they said, he wrote me a warning letter on my performance. Now I am on FMLA to take care of my mental health. Have been in therapy and I'm working part-time, right? Here's the thing with this, right? When people are giving us like feedback and criticism, or it's really how you interpret it, right? But I believe that you should lean in to that person who's giving you that feedback or that criticism, right? So here's the other thing, right? Here's the other thing. There's so many problems in this in what this person is writing that caused them to get into this situation, right? Number one, if you're given a project, right, and there's no deadline, quote unquote, right? My first question is, when do you need this by? Right? That's my very first question. When do you need this by? So,
message.
the first way, like when somebody gives you something to do, right? Especially if it's your boss, when do you need this by? Right? Now, if it's June that you get it, and they tell you it's done in August, right? The second thing I'm going to do is, all right, let's set up to get started, right? For the first month, or maybe first 2 weeks, 3 weeks, whatever, you figure that out. I'm going to ask, can I set up a weekly meeting with you so that we can make sure that we're heading on the right direction, on the right path, right? And that way I can show the work that I'm doing and I can get immediate feedback, right? Just like in Scrum. Your boss becomes your stakeholder, and then you can say, okay, so you meet, 30 minutes, maybe 15 minutes, and say, this is where I'm at, this is what I've done. And then you can get that immediate feedback of, you're doing the joins, but you're not validating your count, and you're not ensuring why the increase why the results are increasing and decreasing, right? Instead of getting that like 3 months later, late, right? You get that on your first week of working on the project. So you know, oh, now I know that I need to, now I know I need to do this way, right? So after you have a foundation of what you're working on, after you have that deadline, then you can say, okay, let's meet every 2 weeks, or and go from there, or let's meet once a month, and you just continue to provide the information, and you keep getting feedback and stuff like that. A lot of times, our feelings get hurt, and now our mental health get affected and stuff like that. And for me, I am always focused on the task at hand, on the mission. Like, I'm like, I don't care. I don't. Some people say I don't have feelings, right? But it's not that I don't have feelings. It's that I'm so focused on the mission that I don't let how I feel about something affect me, right? So now here's the other thing, right? Just like we mentioned on the previous one about the imposter syndrome, so many resources that are available, right? So many resources that are available that you can go to Udemy, you can go to Coursera, all this stuff, right? Another thing, this mentor that you have, right, who doesn't know, right? Did you just stop at that point? And who is your mentor, right? Because if I was in the situation, right, where I really, really needed help, right? I think the first thing I would do is I'd go on LinkedIn and find somebody who is a data engineer or data scientist at a top company and reach out to them and saying, hey, I need some help in this position that I'm in, and I'm willing to pay you. What? Yes, you have to be willing to spend money to make yourself better, right? Pay the people you want to learn from. Their time is valuable because they have gone the route that you have gone, so that they can help you not make the same mistakes and get there faster. But a lot of times we're cheap and we don't believe that we should pay for the things that are important for us. We pay for the things that are not important, right? Netflix subscription, maybe, I don't know. But the things that are important, we think that we should get it for free. I'm telling you, sometimes I really feel like,
One more thing. Price of the brick going up.
because you try to help people and give them the guidance, and you know, they just do whatever they want, and then they wonder why their results are their results, right? So this is getting very specific. Like, their question is very specific, but the problem is they're not doing like I have a data engineer. I have a couple of data engineering classes, right? And which I'm gonna get into, but like, I'm not necessarily looking to be a data engineer for a company or something like that. Maybe one day, who knows, right? But the thing is, I have the resources to be able to and if whatever challenge that I come across, I don't run from it. I run to it, right? And I crush it. And then now I'm like, oh, I made a mistake. Oh, okay, now I know, and it's not gonna happen again. You know what I mean? So, like, that's how I see it. And you just got to do better. And you got to stop taking it personally. Lean into the people who give you these the criticism and the feedback, and ask them, oh, okay, I didn't think about that. How can I approach it to be better, right? To do better. And meet with them on a regular basis, right? Constant feedback. That's the goal. Constant feedback. All right? All right. All right. So here we are. We are going to get into our next question. But before we do that, if you are enjoying these questions and you're finding the answers helpful, which, you know, I try to make it entertaining, I try to make it informative, I try to make it helpful, I try to make it easy to understand. That is my goal. If you agree that's what I'm doing, go ahead and subscribe to the channel, right? Hit the notification bell so you know every time we go live. Like the video, share the video. I showed you this earlier, right? Because if you're just coming into the stream, you're probably opening up on the chat view, right? So I want you to go ahead and close that. I don't know if you can see it. Got to get this into dark mode, right? Close that. Like the video, share it, subscribe to the channel. All right. So, and then you can go ahead and open back up the live chat. Okay. So, with that being said, we are going to get to our next question.
Another one.
Should I start applying for QA jobs now? I graduated in 2021 with a degree in economics and math minor. Since then, I've been working at a manufacturing company. I spent the first year as a reporting analyst where I created reports and dashboards with SQL and Tableau. I've spent the second year as a business analyst on a Salesforce implementation project. About 50% of this role involves manual testing, including writing test cases and executing various tests, functional, unit, end-to-end, etc. in Jira? Didn't see that coming. I've really enjoyed the testing part of my job and decided I want to go down the QA engineering path. The problem is I don't have any experience in programming beyond SQL and a Python course I took in college. Looking at job descriptions, I see a lot of them mention programming languages and tools like JavaScript, Cypress, and Postman. Should I start applying to QA jobs now or take some course on these tools first? That is the question, and that is a very, very good question, all right? So here is what I'm going to say. The answer is you should do both, right? You should start applying for QA jobs, and because well, if you let's say you apply for a QA job, right? And you don't know none of this stuff, right? And you get to the interview, how are you going to get the job? You'll just be wasting an interview, right? So the other side of the story is if you apply for a QA job today, 9 out of 10 times, you're not going to get a response for like, it takes a ramp up before you start getting, I don't know why it works that way, but you know, you apply, and then all of a sudden you start getting more and more interviews that start happening, right? Or like requests from recruiters and stuff like that. So should you apply? So I say start now, but you have to start taking the courses on these tools now, right? Do it at the same time. One of the people that I'm coaching, I'm like, learn automation, learn testing and everything like that, but also apply. Get your resume out there, especially now that a new year is coming, right? Once the new year starts, people are going to start hiring and stuff like that. There's going to be new budgets, new quotas, depending on that company's fiscal year. And they're going to be looking to hire, right? And here's the thing, right? I would say this, because you don't really have much experience in QA, why, like, and well, I wouldn't say that you don't have much experience in QA, right? Jesus Christ. I would say that you don't have like specific experience in QA, but you're doing a lot of QA stuff, right? Like executing functional tests, unit tests, end-to-end tests. You have access to the code so you can see what's happening in these tests, right? So you can take a look at the code. And while you're learning the different programming languages and the tools, look at the code, execute the code, see what's happening, start writing your own code based on what you see, right? But you got to start learning. Like you got to get to work. And I would say this, right? Because you are a business analyst now, which business analysts to me, to be honest with you, I think they are like the cousin of QA, right? I have a very, very close friend that she was a business analyst a long time ago. She got into QA. She was doing QA for a very long time, and then at her company they moved her back to, like, not back because she wasn't a business analyst at the company, but they moved her from QA to business analyst, and stuff like that, right? So I think they're close, but here, here's my recommendation: see if it's possible from within your current company to move to QA, right? Still have to learn the stuff, but if you're able to move to QA within your current company, then you can leverage them already knowing you and knowing your work ethic and stuff like that. Well, you have to make sure you have good work ethic, right? But they can know your work ethic. They can already be familiar with you, work with you, and that now you're fully doing QA. You get to keep getting better at automation, your programming languages. You get to contribute to the unit test, end-to-end test, the functional test, all of that, and they make more sense to you. So now, in the future, you have that full knowledge of QA and everything like that. And at that point, it'll be easier for you to apply to another job. I always recommend that if you are trying to transition to QA, the easiest thing to do is, number one, do not quit your job, right? Number two, try to transition at your current company to the QA department, QA field, or that QA role, so that you can start learning there where people know you and they know who you are, your work ethic, and all of that. And it'll just be a better opportunity to transition within a job that you have versus trying to go out there and find something without that actual experience. Although I do think business analyst is very, very closely related to QA, right? It's just slightly different focuses, but I've known another real close friend of mine. They used to be a business analyst, and now they are a booming QA engineer. Right? So, yeah. But going back to it, right? And here's the thing: when you transition within a company, they're more lenient and they're more flexible. That you might not need to have all the programming knowledge as long as you are open to learning it. They might be willing to work with you, but for like going to a company that like a company that doesn't know you, they have expectations that they're looking for the people that they're hiring to meet. So it's going to be a lot harder for you to get it that way. All right. So that's my perspective. That is how I see it. And on that note, all right. So let's reset the clock and we will move on to our next question. So, hope you are enjoying the show. Hopefully, geez, I can't speak tonight. Hopefully, you are finding it very, very informative. And if you are, go ahead and subscribe to the channel. Hit the notification bell so you can know when we go live. Of course, as always, like the video, share the video, all of that good stuff. All right. Let's get to our next question.
Another one.
Career for someone who can't stand being at work 8 hours a day. I'm done with the traditional American 9 to 5 or 7 to 3:30 in my case currently. 40 hours plus work week job model. They promise you a 2-week vacation per year. However, most times I don't even get that far without losing all interest in quitting the job. I'm technically oriented and creative, and when something piques my interest, I can have a huge drive to get it done. I just cannot stand being tethered to the same spot for 8 to 10 hours, and my mental focus basically drops to 0 after 4 hours. This has been the source of tensions for a few bosses, and there's honestly not much I can do about it. I've tried. I like having maximum flexibility and having some control in my schedule and not having too many days the exact same. I've had contracts before. I've had contract jobs before, and I always preferred them since I know it has an end date. I was an electrical apprentice for 3 years, but the 50 plus hour week grind and commute was too much, and I ended up changing to something else. The work itself was not bad. I'm considering doing some work from home sales or something in the trades. However, I'm open to all possibilities, including those that require going back to school. So, TLDR, career for someone bright who can get things done but doesn't like the restrictive nature of the workplace. And they also said, I just want less hours. I'm tired of 3/4 of my waking hours spent doing something that doesn't benefit me whatsoever. Please stop trying to diagnose me with something. So, first and foremost, I'm going to say that I'm just going to focus on this, right? I'm tired of 3/4 of my waking hours spent doing something that doesn't benefit me whatsoever. I was always under the impression that a paycheck benefited me, right? Being able to actually eat and have a place to sleep and have a car to drive and being able to take care of my family, all that stuff, having health care to provide for myself and for my family. Um, all the stuff that, you know, a job or a career or whatever the case may be allows you to do, to live. I always thought that was a benefit. But I was wrong. I was mistaken, apparently. So next, right? I didn't I wonder what type of diagnosis people are trying to do, but I don't know. This person just doesn't want to work, right? They want. It's funny. I think today, the video that was released today for our Q&A was someone saying that they been in testing. They were a manual tester for 9 years. They got let go. They're trying, or no, did they get let go? I'm not sure if they got let go, right? But no, I think they did get let go, right? And they need to learn automation because they didn't take the opportunity when they could have. But they want to get a entry level automation job, getting paid the price of a senior level manual QA, which it could be the same thing. I don't know, but they also wanted to be work from home, and they want to, I don't know, be able to relocate. I don't know. They had a lot of demands, right? But they missed the train because they didn't do the work they should have done, right? So when I'm reading this, right, this person has a lot of demands, right? But this is not a diagnosis, right? They're just unfocused, right? They want things their way, right? They think it's Burger King. All right. Here's the thing. I see people make all these demands about, oh, the company should do this, the company should do that, blah 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 blah. We just seen the UAW strike and all that type of stuff, right? And to me, I think they're lucky. I think they're lucky that they got what they got, but whatever, right? Here's the thing, right? What makes us think that a company like owes us something, right? It's a business. The same way they do business with their customers, they do business with their employees, and their employees do business with them, right? You're getting paid to do a job and you get benefits because they're trying to be competitive, right? That's why certain positions get paid a certain amount of money, other positions get paid another amount of money, right? And companies the reason that they have these accommodations and stuff like that, it's not necessarily because they care about you. It's what is like, how do I put the company in the best position to be successful, right? And if that includes like allowing our like if it means like we can get the best talent and let them work from home, then they're gonna do that. If it's like, oh, let's provide this benefit, oh, let's provide these stock options, let's provide these bonuses, whatever the case may be, right? It's not necessarily because they like you, it's because you add value. And that way, it's like, let's add value back into our employees so that they can be happy. And even with that, 9 times out of not, I'm exaggerating. It's not. I like to say 9 times out of 10, but it's not, right? But a lot of times the employees still aren't happy with what the company is trying to do for them, right? Whatever. But what I'm trying to say is, when I read things like this, right? It's like, oh, I'm unfocused. I don't want to work for more than 40 hours or whatever. You heard me mention, right? Like just in the Candid Conversations video from Monday, where I asked you, right? How hard are you working? How many hours are you putting in, right? And I'm like, I work for my company. I work for my health. I work for myself, right? So like I work for the company, like the company I work for, testing and all that stuff, making sure things are working properly, making sure things like, doing what I can do to help my team be successful. But then when I am going to train jujitsu, for instance, right? That's work for my health, right? Where I'm like getting better in enduring pressure, getting better in thinking, getting better in training and all that type of stuff, right? And then doing the YouTube, I'm working, coaching, I'm working, right? Because I'm looking to add value to you. That's the work. Add value, trying to reach as many people as I can. That's what, to me, all of that is work, right? So when it comes to the end of the week, I don't know how many hours I've worked, right? But I also make it fun and I make it enjoyable and I make it challenging, right? But a lot of times in this current day and age, people they don't want to do the work, but they want to get all the benefits. And it doesn't work that way. It doesn't work that way, right? And that's why people end up in their situation and then they end up like this.
I'm in a bind, Nate.
We were supposed to show what happened. Why didn't you show? But no, I don't think it shows. But that's what ends up happening. They just get upset, they get frustrated, and
I'm in a bind, Nate.
That's where you're in. And guess what? With that attitude and mindset, there is absolutely nothing that Tech Coach Ralph can do for you. And on that note, and we got my main man, Sean. He says 9 to 5 is way better in comparison to other jobs out there. I agree with you. Here's the thing. I guess it also kind of depends on the 9 to 5, right? Let me read your second comment first, because that might change my mind. So there are some people working 60 plus hours a week and dream of a 9 to 5. It's all about okay, true, yeah. I agree. And here's the thing, right? Because I have another point of view from that, right? Because I always hear people say that I always hear people say, "Oh, you shouldn't work a 9 to 5. You want to work for yourself and all this type of stuff, right? You don't want to have a boss. You want to work for yourself, right?" You probably heard people say that too. Here's my question, right? when you work when you don't work a 9 to 5, what hours are you working? You are working 24/7. See, people think that, and this is probably why business go out of business, right? Because you are your own boss, right? The same bad behavior that you had on your job that you didn't want to have, you didn't want to have that 9 to 5 or work 60 hours plus, whatever the case may be, right? The same bad behavior, showing up late, leaving early, talking on the phone when they tell you you shouldn't be talking on the phone, right? Being rude to customers, whatever the case may be. Now it's amplified because you do it to your own customers. You're supposed to be there at a particular time. If you show up at all, show up late, you have bad customer service, and then you go out of business. You owe money in taxes and stuff like that. Probably not keeping track of it properly. So when people like downplay the people who work 9 to 5s, right? A lot of times you're not doing much better. You're not doing better at all. You know what I mean? So yeah, like I would say in order to me at least, so I could be totally wrong, but in order to be good at doing your own thing, you have to start working working under somebody else to do a good job that way and build the skills that you can go out there and follow those principles and precepts, right? Because for somebody to be able to hire, they have to get there first, right? And so that's yeah, I think being able to work a quote unquote 9 to 5 is a starter step, right? And then you can do a lot. Like I worked many years before I started doing this, like before coming on YouTube, because I had to gain the knowledge and the confidence and all that, and now I'm able to share with you, right? So I would say be careful what you wish for, right? Because I do not want to hear you say,
I'm in a bind, Nate.
nope. Nope. All right. So thank you so much for that, Sean. Your input, is so valuable. All right. So let's get to our next question.
Another one.
Day in the life of a UI automation engineer. A manual QA aspiring to be an automation QA. I've been studying Selenium and Java using Maven and TestNG and would be interviewing for an automation role in the near future. I would like to know what your days look like as a UI automation engineer. I'm sure it's a lot more than finding locators and writing simple scripts, unlike what's shown online in the automation lectures. But since I don't have any experience in real-time project for a company, I am unable to visualize this role. Also, any tips on how to showcase / talk about my automation project in an interview? Well, of course. All right. So let's get to this question, right? This is a very, very good question, and it is right up my alley. So, in today's day and age, I am not. What? Is that right? I am not a UI automation engineer. Do I automate some UI stuff? Some, but my day-to-day is automating back-end stuff, right? Like some serious type of stuff. Automating that, getting that better. But I still do some UI automation, and I did a lot of UI automation in the past, and you've seen me do UI automation on some streams, right? So, with that being said, let's get to the answer. Oh my God. We got my main man, Andrew, in the building. What's good, Andrew? And yes, that's an amazing question. And I'm going to answer it right now. Okay, so, and I like the fact that this is very true, right? You do not spend all day finding locators and writing simple scripts like what's shown in online lectures. The days are different, right? So, and it just depends on, because, all right, so let's start off like this, right? You're going to be 99% of the time, you're going to be in a Scrum team. You're going to be assigned to a team where you guys are working on a particular part of the software, of the company, whatever the case may be. And depending on how the company is structured, right? You're most likely not just going to be an automation engineer. You're going to be a QA engineer because you're going to be doing manual testing. You're going to be doing QA testing, unless you're maybe an SDET. But like in my roles, I've been like in charge of the whole shebang, right? So depending on the day, right? Because we'll break it down like this. We have days where they're more meeting heavy, right? And if your Scrum Master and your project manager organizes the days correctly, right? Then you're gonna have some days where you get to like really focus on like the actual development work, and then you're gonna have some days that are focused on meetings, right? You can just count one day that's not gonna get like much of any development done, because that would be the day that you do like your sprint reviews, your retrospective, your planning. That's like, we call that Scrum Day, right? And then you have days that you have like your refinements where you go over your stories and stuff like that, to make sure they have the right details, to make sure they're pointed correctly, all that stuff, right? Now, so those are like the meeting days, right? Then you have days where like you actually get to focus more on the code. So typical day, I'll go to two of them, right? So typical day where I don't have a lot of meetings, we're gonna have stand up. We're going to talk about what we worked on the previous day, what we're planning on working on today, if we have any obstacles. And that's typically a short meeting, usually in the morning, where the team gets together. So that way you can talk about like, okay, what do you plan on testing? What do you plan on automating? Is there any trouble that you have? Is like, based on what you did yesterday, was there anything that's preventing you from being able to do your work from today, or that might be preventing you in the near future? You talk about that, right? So that's early in the morning stand up. Then you look at what is in the pipeline, what's being assigned to you, what needs to be worked on, what needs to be tested, and you will get to work on that. Depending on the stage that you are, you might be writing a test plan. You might be meeting with developers about what you're going to be testing. You might be seeing what stage that there are in the development process. You might be like writing test plans, writing test cases, all of that, and then you might be updating broken automation tests because maybe some code change, maybe there's some flakiness you need to adjust, things like that, right? Also, almost forgot. You will also have like, you have to check the results that failed as well, right? You have to check the results, like, because if your tests are running on a nightly basis or something like that, you have to check them to see what failed, if anything needs to be updated, right? So there's that. And then like writing new automation. So you might have to, you need to write the code to be creating new automation, which includes like what you mentioned about the, finding locators and scripts and stuff like that. But that's only a part of it, right? It's a big part, but it's a part because you have to be part of the Scrum meetings and everything. So that is pretty much the day. Oh, and then like once you write your code, I mean, and this might take like span across multiple days, but after it's done, you have to create a PR, a pull request, to get feedback, to get code review and everything like that, make the necessary adjustments, and then you can merge that into the main branch where the main code runs, and it'll join into the automation pipeline. Um, the the days where it's meeting heavy, you will go to there. You'll have like your sprint review where you can show the stakeholders what you worked on the past 2 weeks. You can talk about some automation. You can talk about the development, how everything came together. In your retros, you talk about how the past sprint went and what you can try for the next sprint to make things better. And then in the planning, you talk about what you bring in the stories to start the next sprint. So that's pretty much how, like, not a particular day goes, but that's how the overall sprint, which is usually 2 weeks, goes. All right. So hopefully that helped. And oh, real quick about how you can showcase and talk about your automation project. I would say go and check out the video that I created about creating a QA portfolio and how to get that started. Check out the video about using Kiwi test case management system so that you can set that up with Docker and you can start writing some test cases in there. And you can bring that up in an interview. So, oh, like I created a QA portfolio. They're gonna be like, oh, what's a QA portfolio? I never heard of that before. And then you can go ahead and you can say, oh, here it is right here, and show it to them, all that good stuff, right? So that is how my days are typically look in QA as a whole, which includes comprehensive QA, includes automation, all of that, and includes being part of a Scrum team, right? So hopefully that helps. All right. And Andrew, he says, "Gots to join the live. Do you want to join right now?" What? I mean, I can open it up for you. The link is in the chat, and I will put it again right now for you. Like, trust me, you are more than welcome to come and hang out with me, and share your expertise with the folks. Where's it? There it is. If you want to join and come hang out with me, and you don't have to be on camera if you don't want to. I can just have your voice playing, you know. So there goes the link if you want to come up and we can hang out. All right. And if anyone has a question, feel free to click on the link and come ask me and, you know, have that conversation. All right. So while we wait to see if Andrew comes hang out with us, we're going to get to another. This is not a question, right? But I am going to I'm gonna read it, but I'm not going to answer it, and you'll see why. Wait 1 second. Well, there goes Andrew. So let me read this real quick, and then I will bring him up. Right. So this one had said, let's see. What is it?
Another one.
LinkedIn tips. Can anyone recommend any company or individual that I should connect to on LinkedIn to boost my knowledge and connections to the software industry? Right. So I'm just gonna say this. I'm not gonna answer that question because I just posted a video about that in the Patreon like 2-3 weeks ago, and I give a great breakdown on how to use LinkedIn to properly network. And I would say go check that out. And invest in yourself. See how I give like 5 or 6 different ways that you can use LinkedIn to your advantage. Ignore all the ratchet stuff, all the Debbie Downer stuff, and use that so you can make meaningful connections with people who can help you get to where you want to be. All right. So I would say go ahead and check that out. And I just wanted to mention that because that will help you a lot. All right. All right, so let's bring Andrew on the line. So let's go here. What's up, Andrew? How you doing? Can you hear me?
I can.
Awesome, awesome. How's it going? Good to see you
What's up,
again.
bro? I'm doing good, man. How things?
Good, good, man. Good. Just, having the show. Wait a sec. Do you want to be on camera? Like on the show?
Yeah, I don't mind.
All right, cool. Let me make sure everything looks good. Studio mode. Mm, let me see how I'm gonna do this. Give me a second. Have to fix something. Gotta check. How was your day?
Man, my day's been it's been wild, bro. It's been quite long, man. But in a good way, you know. Put it in good bit of applications, put it in doing some work offline, doing some coding challenges. Thank you for that Udemy course. I'm
For
going to
sure.
take a look at that. So that's really about it, man.
Awesome. Right. I'm about to bring you up in just a second. Did some crazy stuff to this thing the other day. We're gonna fix it as we're doing it. So let me go here. And you are up and live on air. So everyone, this is Andrew. And he is also a QA engineer. Actually, you're like, what is it the things that you do?
Um, for the majority of my life, I've been a QA engineer, right? As Ralph likes to say, I came out the womb doing QA. But I've done QA. I've been a regular dev, Java dev, and then most recently, I've been venturing into the SDET realm, right? So not just doing, as you was just alluding to, not just getting selectors and elements for a page, but actually building tools and frameworks, right? So at my previous job, I was building plugins for the Unreal project, right? And really just making it an input recorder. So anybody can put in certain inputs and then it will save those inputs. And then for a game, you want those inputs to be played on time and every time correctly. So that was like the biggest thing, just building out those sorts of things. And that's kind of been where I've been sitting at for like the last 6 months, But now I'm in the job market, right? Everyone is affected by layoffs. It sucks everywhere, but that's the industry that we chose. You can't you can't not get away from it. Tech is either going to be good or it's going to be bad. You
That's a
know.
good point. Yep, that's true. So I have a friend in the chat who says, "Hi, Andrew." So that is Leanne in the chat. She says, "Hi." So
Hello, Leanne.
see, so I wasn't off when I said you came out of the womb knowing how to do automation, right?
No, man. I've been at it for going on 10 years now, man. So it's been a while, right? I first started off doing Groovy, which is like a Java style
Mhm.
automation, and it completely blew my mind. I didn't know that tests could work like that, and that got my interest peaked. A good friend of mine suggested that I go into QA automation, and I had this whole vision that QA was waiting around for a week and a half, not doing any work, and then stressing to get all the work in for the release. But he assured me that was just that environment, that was just that company. And since I already had years of experience writing code, I'll be able to pick up automation quickly. And I jumped in and really haven't turned back since, man. So not out the womb, but for a long time.
What would you say was because like so you were a developer, so you had the knowledge and experience of like writing code, but going into QA, what was like the like what was the hardest part about that part? Like not the development part, but going into QA.
So going into QA, developers, their mindset is, hey, I have a problem, let me find a solution, right? But a QA's mindset is, I have a problem and a solution. How can I break that solution? Right. So flipping that switch to trying to fix the problem to trying to break the problem was something that it took a little while to for those dots to connect. But outside of that, getting into code, it was really just learning a different language, right? I've been in Ruby, JavaScript, and two different types of JavaScript frameworks, Kotlin, Swift. All of these languages are just about the same, right? They do about the same thing, but it's the principles. The thing that really trips you up is syntax and the libraries, right? In Ruby, you can have random generators, and they'll have all these files for you. But in C#, they don't have those things. You know what I mean? They don't have a random file generator or a random name email generator. You have to kind of do those things on your own. So just learning those little tricks of the trade, to help your life go a lot easier. But syntax is syntax, libraries are libraries. Once you start getting like not functions, but once you start getting design patterns,
Mhm.
those sorts of concepts, any language can work anywhere.
You ever find yourself like, because you seen, I'll go between Java and Python, and then sometimes JavaScript. Do you ever find yourself like you're writing in like JavaScript or Python or whatever, but you start writing Java code?
Yes, all the time, right? Most recently, when I was at Lucasfilm, I was coming from JavaScript and I was having to learn C++. In JavaScript, it's easy in the sense that, it's very widely used everywhere, but there's 100 different frameworks for JavaScript. C++, no, this is it. This is all you have, Um, so I would be writing C++ code, but then it'd be like, oh, I'll start writing a for loop or I'll start writing an algorithm in JavaScript thinking that that's going to work and wondering why my code is broken,
Yep. Yep. So you said you're working at a gaming company before?
Yes. Yes.
I have a friend who wants to get into QA for gaming. I have another person who was asking about it as well, about like, but their goal was to they want to actually build a game. So we're like, well, going into testing for it might not be your best route because
Right. Yeah, most definitely. Most definitely.
you guys
And I
another
did not realize how much went into building games, right? There's level designers, there's artists, there's character designers, right? And that's their primary job. Like, for example, Tekken, right? There's these characters, but Tekken 8, it has all these breakables, from the glass windows, the floor breaking, and each one of those things, a person is doing that job, or a team is doing like the glass shattering, the the movement patterns, and the character design themselves. That's not even the gameplay engineers, then you have the testing, you have the storyboarding, you have, the list goes on and on about what it is that is actually in the gaming world or the production industry. Right. So if you're trying to get in there, hey, there's ways to get in, so keep your eyes open for all sorts of deals. If you want to design characters, go into that. If you want to do gameplay engineering, right? Learn C++, learn C#, learn Unreal, which is a beast within itself, right? Though it's a lot more difficult learning Unreal on the Mac, because it's based off of Windows products. I would just suggest going all in, like even learning how to build a VM to get yourself a Windows machine. That is one way to get that knowledge of getting a VM and then understanding how Windows machines work.
Yeah, that's and that's why like I go through all these different tools and softwares. Like one week I'll be messing with Docker, another week I'll be messing with Cypress, another week I'll be or Sundays I'll be messing with Terraform, just to get exposure, to all these different tools, and that way you can like ramp up on something. But if you've never looked at it before, and now you're trying to like learn it under pressure, it's going to be so hard,
Yes, 100%.
So that's why I'm always encouraging people, like, just do something. I remember I'll tell you a quick story, right? One of the people that I coach, they wanted to go into QA, and I was like, well, I want you to do this challenge, but I want you to, they're learning SQL, right? And I'm like, well, I want you to install SQL via Docker. And they're like, I never used Docker before. And they were kind of scared. I'm like, okay, well, let's just do it, right? And we set up Docker and install MySQL in like 10 minutes, and then going forward, like, oh, I want you to do this challenge, like the rock, paper, scissors challenge at Chaos Camp. And then they were able to go get that, do the Docker build, start the container on their own, because that little exposure of 10 minutes that they had to install MySQL on it, they were able to, like, so it's just like doing something, because a lot of people, they get scared to do something, right? Because it's new to them. But I'm like, once you do it, it's done. And now you can use that knowledge to take you further,
100%. It's so funny that people are so scared of Docker, right? It's, oh my gosh, I don't know what this thing is. There's a whale, there's containers, there's boats, right? And really, it takes 10 minutes. Like, I'm glad that you use 10 minutes, because it's a very readable language, right? When writing a Docker file, it's very readable. When I was first learning Docker, I was like, yo, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to do this. This is gonna take me months to learn this. And then I sat down, I was like, oh, once you get the images right, like once you started getting it built, excuse me, and once you start understanding how those commands work in the command line, and then you're able to write your own Docker file, it was easy as pie, man. Like, I wish I would have used it more often earlier than that one time that I had that exposure to it, because if I would have known it was just that easy, like, I would have, I just would have been using it.
And here's the thing with that, right? Because to me, the easiest way to get started in Docker is to like just do a Docker run command on like, and the way that I suggest it, because I talk to a lot of QA people, right? People want to get into QA. Just start the Selenium grid. It's just like one line that you copy and you paste, and you're gonna see it come up, and then you navigate to it in the browser, and you'll see the grid, right? And it's like such a quick win that you can say, oh, I just did something in Docker. What else can I do? Right?
Yeah.
And then you go into like doing pulling in an image, starting up a container. Then you can build your own container. And that's one of the things I like about that rock, paper, scissors challenge, as well as the UI web automation challenge, is that Don has you actually build the image. He creates the Docker file. And you have to do Docker build, right? And it'll build it. And you're actually doing stuff in Docker, which is so valuable that I think people miss how useful that is,
Yeah, most certainly. And it can be used in all aspects, not just for UI automation, but for your builds, right? So if you're maintaining an AWS pipeline, or you're making sure that all your tests are in the AWS pipeline, and you want to test against, either production or whatever environment that you have, you can just spin up a Docker image for that environment and then run your test against that Docker image, or against that container for that, for your automation. So it's like, it's those little things that I overlooked, early in my career. It's like, oh, this is just a thing. Like, it's just a language that you have to learn. Like, and once you get to it, you're good to go.
So, Andrew, you want to answer a question with me? I haven't done it this way before, right? But I'll pose the question and then you can answer it first, and then I'll give my perspective on it. What do you think? All right.
All right,
So
that sounds cool.
let me do this.
Another one.
All right. So here we go. Software testing opportunities: Selenium plus Java versus Selenium plus Python. So, based on your own research, what is better to choose? What is more profitable and will be more needed in the future? I am a manual tester and I would like to get into automation testing. I was thinking about this: Selenium plus Java or Selenium plus Python. What do you think they should go into? Should they go to Selenium and Java or Selenium and Python?
All right, do I get 3 minutes, or how are we going to do it?
I'll give you. Well, how much do you want? I can.
No, you know what? Because I don't want to take too much of your glorious time. I can just do 2 minutes, right? Because personally, if you're getting into a language, probably one of the easier languages to get into is Python, right? So Selenium will be Selenium if you use Java, Python, Ruby, C#, whatever language. Selenium is going to be Selenium. But what language do you feel will be the best, for your time, is the question that you need to ask yourself. What more can you do with Python, right? If you look today, Python is one of the top 10, maybe like number 2 in top 10 languages that's being used, because it's used for machine learning. It's used for AI, it's used for DevOps, is used for DevSecOps. It's used for a lot more things. So even if you want to do QA automation, or you want to move your career to something else, not that you can't use Java, but Python is an easier, more reliable language to go to, in my opinion. Oh, you muted yourself.
That was pretty good. That was less than 2 minutes. So I agree. Funny enough, I was doing Java for like my first 8 years, or for eight, not my first 8 years, because I started using unified functional testing, and then I transitioned to Selenium and Java. But I just learned Python last year, and I use it every day now, right? Didn't even learn it for automation purposes. I learned it for a totally different reason, right? And I'm like, now I'm doing automation in it, right? But I would say, though, to me, I say both, right? And the reason I say both is because there is a lot of opportunity that you can do with Python, with like the packages. It's a lot easier to understand. And I think it made it easy for me to pick up, because coming from Java, it was like, oh, this is easy, right? Because Java is so much more complicated.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing that, like, when I'm doing a lot of searches and stuff for jobs, and like Sean just said, it also depends on what the company is using. A lot of times when I'm looking at the jobs, a lot of them still are heavy on Java, right? And I think that you can still know enough of the Java to do automation without knowing because I still don't know everything about Java, right? But I think you can know enough about Java to do automation and pick up. So the same things you can know how to do in Python from a Selenium perspective, it shouldn't be too hard to learn how to do it in a Java perspective. Definitely their syntax is more strict. It's more strict in the sense of like, there's a lot of things you can't get away with, right? And then you know, you need to declare the type of variable and all of that, right? But minor things that you need to pick up on. But for if you want to learn a coding language more comprehensively, I would say you probably want to go with Python because there's a lot more opportunity, a lot easier to get into. But I would say from a specific automation perspective, I would say try to pair that knowledge so that you can apply it because you don't want to only be applying to one type of job. I want you to be able to
Hmm.
apply to the Java jobs as well, where you know enough knowledge about automation, as well as being able to apply for the Python jobs, which the Python is going to come easier in my belief. But you don't want to close yourself from that market, you know, of the Java jobs because I still see those as the ones that are still being like requested the most. It is shifting, but to me, I still see that's like the number one being requested. But learn both, and like, what's stopping you from learning both? You know?
Right. And that's kind of what I was alluding to earlier. Like I've worked in Java and I've named off all of these things that I've worked in. And at the end of the day, it's object-oriented programming, right? Like, are you gonna know how to utilize a class properly? Are you going to understand how to, use the structs or write for loops, write certain functions, have certain algorithms? Like all of those things are the same in every language. Like a for loop in Python is really just for X in this, right? While in C++ or C sharp, it's more or less like for int I semicolon, blah, 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 blah. At the end of the day, it's still a for loop, and we have to figure out what that for loop is doing. So learn as many languages as you most possibly can, right? That is funny enough. That's something I've been dinged at is that I know too many languages. I'm not a master. I don't have 10 years experience in Python or 10 years experience in Java, but it's like, but I've worked in object-oriented programming and those principles are the same, right? So understanding the principles are more important than understanding a specific language.
And you know, like that annoys me that you would get dinged because oh you haven't been in Python for 10 years or you haven't been in Java for 10 years. That just shows how dynamic that you're able to be, right? That I can shift from Java to Python to C sharp to whatever language I know, you know, to Groovy to Kotlin. Like I can shift and I can still add value to whatever company that I'm at. But like when they're like, oh, but you haven't been in this one for this, like how much does how much does the code really change, right? That the difference that you're gonna have to be writing, you know, it's kind of dumb, but that also comes from people who don't know what they're talking about, and you probably don't want to work for them anyways at that point, you know.
That guy gets it. That guy gets it.
You know, so and that's why I'm like, I'll tell you this, at the company that I'm at now, when I was doing like the technical project, right? They told me like write it in the language you're comfortable in. You know, they like they use Python. But they said write in the language that you're comfortable in. And I was like for like 5 minutes, I'm like, oh, should I just do it in Python? And I was like, nah, I'm gonna do it in Java because that's where I came from. You know,
Right. So
and they loved it. You know, and they were like, wow, like the level of detail, the way that like I put the reporting in there and I put like the framework that I built for it and all of that. It's like but if I could have got it in Python, but I'm like, there wasn't enough I knew about Python at the time yet to get it to the level I've done automation in Java, you know. And I ended up like building a mini framework on that project that I was able to use for another project, a technical project as well. And I still have that framework that I can use for whatever I want to use it for, you know, in Java, of course. But it's like it's just dumb when they're like, oh, I don't know. So some companies have the strange requirements that it's probably better for you not to work with them.
yeah, and you made a good point right there where you said that you thought about doing the company that you interviewed for is working in Python, and they say, hey, do whatever language that you're most comfortable in. Don't fall into the trap of trying to do the language that they know, right? Because if you don't know that language that well, you're going to look twice as bad, because now you're going to have to start, like, you're fumbling over your libraries, you're fumbling over like the syntax. Just do what is comfortable at that time and then go forward. Like, get better as you go. Don't try to, oh yeah, though I've never used this language before, I'll be able to write this technical exam in this language. No, like, be you. Just be you.
And I'll say this as well, right? A good company, they're not hiring you, like, you still have to know the how to code and stuff like that, but they're not hiring you for that. They're hiring you for, like, especially with experience, like for your strategies, your critical thinking skills, how you triage, how you react under pressure, you know. So you have to, like, that's the part that comes with experience, right? So for me, when they say like, oh, I want 5 years experience, I want 10 years experience, it's less about the actual language. Like, you still, like, you want to get better with your code as time evolves, which naturally you will, but it's more about how do you handle situations? What are you willing to do to help, to make the company successful? Are you willing to go on call? Some people who might be more entry level, like, oh, I don't know, like that question earlier, like, I don't want to work 40 hours,
And I was going to message back and like, nah, bro, I want to work 20 hours at minimum, at the most, and I want to get paid $800,000. Like, come on, like, I'm trying to get that Netflix money right now,
right? So yeah, so I'm like, they don't hire, like, they're hiring your 10 years of experience, not like, oh, because you write really nice code,
Right.
Because once you have the strategy, the code just comes, because you can research, okay, now that I have the strategy, how would I, like, because I'm on Googling and Stack Flowing all the time. Like, I'll be on a live stream, like, oh, I wonder if I could do this. And I Google it and I find out, like, okay, now I just implement it, That's what they're hiring. And I think that's what we also need to portray when we're interviewing. Like, you're not hiring me for my code, right? You're hiring me for the way that I think and the solutions that I'm going to deliver.
Yeah.
What do you think about that?
Oh no, I completely agree. Like, it's hard leveraging yourself, right? And being that person, in an interview when you have 3 other people staring at your screen saying, like, hey, what are you doing right now? And why are you putting that semicolon right there and not at the end of the line? So it's like, it's that pressure, it's that anxiety level starts kicking in. So what do you do under pressure, right? You kind of hit on it. Are you going to be cool and calm? I personally am one that am not good at taking tests. I'm a great worker, right? I've never been that great at taking tests. But the way that you get better at taking tests are doing more tests, right? So just constantly trying to improve your test taking ability so people can know that, hey, I can actually do really good work when given the opportunity to do so.
So funny thing, right? On the Terraform course, they have like little quizzes and stuff, right? So you see all the crazy stuff that I'm doing with Terraform and setting up grids and stuff like that. But I got like 3 questions wrong on the quiz, right? I'm like, whatever. I as long as I know how to do the work. I'll probably have to study it if I want to get like HashiCorp certified or something like that. But I'm able to spit up these instances and all this type of stuff,
See, we just got to do better, man. We got to do better at taking tests. That's
For real,
all.
right?
That's all.
But yeah. Anyways, I'm gonna wrap it up for tonight. I really, really appreciate you for coming up, and I hope to have you up more. And I know we spoke about it briefly, but we're gonna do some more stuff together to help the people. You have
most certainly, man.
tons of
This was
experience.
a
I have
great time. I really
experience.
appreciate
And
it, Ralph.
say that again.
Sorry, I didn't know you were still talking. I said this was a great time. I really appreciate it, Rob.
Oh no, awesome. Yeah, like I'm so happy that you came up and to have this amazing conversation. But we're gonna wrap it up. So I am going to bring you down, and thanks once again. Is there anything you want to tell the people before I let you go?
Like and subscribe Rob's channel. That's the best
Awesome.
thing I can do.
Appreciate it. Appreciate it. I
appreciate you.
All right. I'm gonna let you go. Thank you so much for coming up. And
See you, man.
we'll talk.
Yes, we'll talk.
And there you have it, folks. Let me get back to my full screen. All right. And Sean says, glad to see you, Andrew. And you guys will be seeing more of Andrew. We are just trying to add value. Just trying to add value to you guys. You can see how knowledgeable that Andrew is from all of his experience. And and I was so happy that to have him like answer a question with me because it shows like how that I said like it has to be only a few months that like I think it was the first time I spoke to Andrew um outside of a like on a video call was back in July, I believe. I think it was like mid-July. And but you can see like in our answers how it's so similar to like from our experience. Like that's just experience talking, right? From being in the industry for such a long time, that's just experience talking. And we have such a similar mindset in the role of QA and the role of automation and all of that type of stuff, right? So we're gonna be and as you see, I am building Tech Team 6. And I'm gonna bring everybody. It's gonna be amazing. Trust me, it's gonna be amazing. I gotta talk to Don. Gotta talk to Socks. We just spoke to Andrew. It's gonna be amazing. Trust me, it's gonna be amazing. All right. But with that being said, let's bring this down. So with that being said, I really, really appreciate you guys for being here. We're gonna wrap it up for tonight, right? It's 9:45 over here on the East Coast. And I wasn't happy that Andrew came up, wasn't expecting it, but hey, what can I say, right? What can I say?
Are you not entertained? Are you not entertained? Is this not why you are here?
Amazing night, amazing night. But we're gonna wrap it up. Hope you enjoyed the questions. I hope the answers helped you. Hope you had a good time tonight. Because while I want this to be very entertaining, I do my best to do that. The most important part is that you learn and you find this information helpful, and that you continue to grow, you continue to level up, because there is so many opportunities in the tech field. I know I'm in QA, come from a QA background, but it's not limited to QA. We talked about data engineering today. Talked about lazy people who don't want to work. We talked about how you can get better, and that's my only goal, for you guys to get better. So that being said, I'm going to wrap it up. That's my third time saying it, but if you haven't done so yet, subscribe to the channel so you can know every single time that we go live, when we drop a new video. Hit the notification bell, like the video, share the video, all that good stuff. Check out the Patreon, check out the information that's in there. Everything is meant to help you. And on that note, oh yeah, check out tomorrow morning. We're going to be going live at 7:15 a.m. Eastern time, where we are going to be doing our coffee and kata. We're going to have some coffee. We're going to read some news, and we are going to get into the coding challenge, where we're going to be working some more on the rock, paper, scissors challenge. And then tomorrow at noon, check out the site reliability engineer video premiere, where we're going to break it down. Very, very lucrative position. Started at Google back in 2003. And yeah, that's it. So with that being said, you guys have an amazing, amazing night. Thank you, Andrew, for showing up. And before we go, let me just read this. Sean says, bring that bot. Oh, Jesus. Can't speak. Bring that guy back. He's cool. Yes, he is. And Andrew says, Tech Team 6.
Let's get it.
And Sean said, great stream today, coach. Thank you so much. And Sean, once again, before we go, everybody for Sean. He landed a position as a QA analyst, right? And it's only up from here, right? Only up from here. And Leanne said, yes, this was very good. Thank you. You are very welcome, Leanne. Thank you for being here. And you're next on deck, right? We're working behind the scenes. I am looking for positions for you as well, all right? So there we have it. There we have it, folks. I will see you guys in the morning, right? And if not, have an amazing Thanksgiving. And I will see you guys, all right? So with that being said, you guys, this is Tech Coach Ralph signing off.
You might think that getting into the IT field is impossible without a computer science degree, but Tech Coach Ralph is here to prove you wrong. Get ready for some jaw-dropping revelations on how to break into this lucrative industry. Listen up, tech enthusiasts! Are you ready to break through into the IT field, but feel like you need a computer science degree to make it happen? Think again! Tech Coach Ralph has some exclusive, mind-blowing secrets to share with you. Get ready to be blown away by his jaw-dropping revelations on how to break into the tech industry without a computer science degree. So get your notepad ready, because Tech Coach Ralph is going to change your life forever. Buckle up, because you're about to embark on a journey to success in the IT field.
Hear me, warriors of the North. Today we have tasted the sweet nectar of victory. Our foes are defeated, and their lands are now bow before us. The gods themselves have favored our glorious deeds on this glorious day. We have shed blood, sweat, and tears to claim this land. Our relentless spirit, our unyielding determination, these are the very essence of our people. Let's believe our ancestors rejoice in the halls of Valhalla. For today, we have added to their eternal glory. Our victories will echo throughout the ages, and our names will be etched in the annals of history. But let us not forget the price we paid, the brothers and sisters we lost. They now feast in the hall of our forefathers, watching over us with pride. Their sacrifice has paved the way for this moment of triumph. As we celebrate this conquest, let us also remember that our journey is far from over. More land awaits our conquest, more battles call us forth, and the fire in our hearts burn ever brighter, for there is no limit to what we can achieve. To those who dare stand against us, let them tremble in fear, for they shall witness the fury of the northern storm, the wrath of the untamed barbarians. Today we celebrate our victory. Tomorrow, we set our sights on new horizons, uncharted land where our banners will fly high. We are Vikings, we're barbarians, we are masters of conquest.